Hey everybody, welcome back to Bonsai Tortoise. Today we're giving everybody an update and talking about future plans. Okay, so we're in the greenhouse, and you know, this is empty. This is the Redfoot winter enclosure. I threw some dwarf jade in here just to grow it out. I'll probably pull it out before the Redfoots go in there. I try to keep this relatively moist because you get the weed growth. And if we ever put in things we have to quarantine during the summertime or things we have to separate for whatever reason, they'll have some weeds to nibble on, and it'll be nice and green and lush. You can see we have volunteer either pumpkin or squash starting there and there. Volunteer tomatoes. I have no idea how the tomatoes got in here because I rarely feed tomatoes, but you know, they're in there. So we let them grow out. Definitely got to pull a tomato plant out before the tortoises go back in because they can't eat that. Here is our turtle tub with no turtles in it. Our large catfish is still in there until I find him a new home. This will be the future Reeves turtle tub, their permanent home. And I have some, they'll come up on the camera or not, but there's some guppies and stuff in there. The bog filter is doing its bog thing. I pulled most of those plants out and put them in our outdoor pond. And our little cactus garden and other stuff is growing well. Our Hermes tortoise winter enclosure is here. We do have one juvenile female in here. And she's right here. Doing good, getting used to the surroundings. But she'll go with the adults shortly. We added water to the greenhouse right here. I need to put a splitter on there and a timer because what I did was install a pipe up here all along the roof line with these sprayers. This kit came with these sprayers. These probably won't work for me because they'll just spray mostly down on the floor. So what I'll probably do is make adjustments on this vinyl tubing to go over here, along here where all the plants go. But that's good because that'll be an automatic watering system. So if I go away for the weekend or if I go away on vacation and plants are still in here, nothing dries out too bad. I have this dragon fruit right here that I'm probably going to plant in there. In here we got some Gulf Coast box turtle hatchlings. We find one. There's one peeking out. Another one under there. I'm testing out this type of enclosure. It's a very shallow water dish here. It's at the bottom of a plant pot. Heavily planted with water plants. I got some water hyacinth, some duckweed, and some frogbit in here. But very moist substrate on this end, and these in here so they can hide under it. So that's them. When they get bigger, eventually they'll live outside full time. I have some cleaning to do. I haven't gotten around to that yet. This is where the Greeks were. I think I'm going to build outdoor housing for them so they can stay outside year-round, them and the Hermans. So they might not come back in here this year. We'll see. And of course our plants. We got way too many plants as usual. Probably going to be posting a lot of these on eBay. This is basically either the stock that I have that I use for future cuttings, or basically pre-bonsai trees that I have not put into either formal pots or they just need work. Over here is our Reeves turtle enclosure. They're doing good. This is all grown out really well. They get up there and they dig. And we got plenty of plants in here to help keep the water clear. But what I did was I put in an overflow. So this runs for a half an hour every day, and it basically just overflows directly into the tank on this timer here. And so that runs for half an hour every morning at sunrise, and overflows the tank with clean water. I'm on well water, so I don't really worry about chemicals in the water. It's been tested, it's good water. But I have the standpipe here, so it just overflows right through there, and it gets good flushing every single day. So far so good. I haven't had any issues with smells or anything like that, and if I do, I will hook up a filter to it. But so far so good. This system seems to be working. Alright, and back here We have all our tillandsia hanging along the greenhouse. A lot of these are in bloom. That's a brachycalis. It just bloomed. This was really, really deep red a couple days ago. We got a bloom spike there. That brachycalis is about to bloom. That'll get a lot deeper in red. So they are doing fantastic. I'm growing grapevines here, and these eventually, I'll spin these around right here once they get long enough, and I'll mount them to the top of this, and they'll grow on either side, so the tortoises can get a nibble on grape leaves on that side, and we'll have grapes on this side kind of going over. It'll look good. Our Greeks are doing well. There's our one female right there. We have a clutch of eggs incubating from her inside the house. So they're doing good. Growing out some more punchia pads. Our Hermans are doing well. There is, I believe, that's a male. Hunkered down. The female was out and about this morning. There was a couple of them were running around this morning, but I guess they're hunkered down already. It's not too hot today, but hey, whatever's good for them. Our redfoots, most of them are not out yet. A couple of them are. We got a couple right there. There's one of the subadults. There's a big adult female going back into our little hiding spot back there. We have another little subadult right there. I think what I'm going to do in here in time is I'm going to actually get rid of that. I know a lot of people say that looks really cool. They don't use it, rarely. I mean, they will go inside it once in a while, but they don't use it. What they do is they go back here. You can see all of them are back here, and they kind of huddle in the back of it, which is fine. And then this one always crawls up here and hides inside there. That's all fine and good, but it doesn't give them any protection from if I get a cold rainstorm or anything like that. A lot of times I'm back here shoving them inside on the front and then blocking them in with hay or whatever. And it's more of a project, so I think I might just build a regular old square hide and put it like over there somewhere and get rid of this, just so it's easier on me instead of trying to come out here in the cold rain finding these guys and putting them in for protection. But anyway, they're doing good. And I'm actually very happy to see this guy because I haven't seen him in 3 or 4 days. And I thought I lost him, but I couldn't figure out how he would have gotten out. I don't have any predator issues. I'm pretty lucky that way. But this is such a big enclosure. He's been hiding in here for the past 2 or 3 days and I haven't found him. Which is probably a good problem, because if he can hide that well, that means he's comfortable and they can get away from things that annoy him. So good, happy to see him. More grapevines right here, and that one, like I said, but the other one will string that along this way. Hopefully they'll meet in the middle. I'm also growing grapes behind the enclosure. You can see a little vine sticking up there, a couple leaves, and a bigger grape plant back there, and there's actually more behind there on the other side too. Like I said earlier, the Hermans and the Greeks will probably likely stay in here year round, and I'll build a cold frame and just monitor that. Probably build cold frames along the back. That's where the sun hits the most, so back there for the Greeks. But so that's good. So on to future things. We have a lot going on here right now. You can see my back deck. We're redoing that right now, which has kept us pretty busy and poor. So we're actually replacing all the wood with this PVC based composite material. So that's fun. So here's our pond. So this is idea number one. This pond was here when I moved in. The walls were not here. I added these for when we had the turtles. But our snapper is in here. Tends to leave those goldfish alone. It has one of those, I guess it's an aquascape biofilter. All those plants there that are up there, they came out of the greenhouse. That was part of my bog filtration system in there, and I got too big. That waterfall filtration system thing, I forget what it's called. You can see it right there. That's connected by a tube underwater that goes into the bottom of that, and then it's supposed to overflow in a waterfall. Unfortunately, the people that had this before me didn't maintain it, and the liner that connects the front of it kind of fell down. So if I turn that on, the water will go behind the liner, which means I need to tear it out and redo the whole thing. The pond itself is really not that deep. It's only maybe 1.5 to 2 feet deep, So it's not ideal for our winter conditions. You really need probably 3 or 4 feet just in case you get a really hard solid freeze where that ice will freeze a foot or two thick. So I need to tear all this apart, build a deeper pond, make it a little wider, and then what I'm going to do is those boards back there, that's another enclosure that I'm not using. I had the redfoots in here last year, so that's empty. But I'm going to take all these boards out, and that will make this and that one big enclosure. I'll build a stream that comes probably from back there all the way down into the new larger pond, and this will be for North American wood turtles and probably some eastern box turtles. So that's plan number 1. Project number 2, there was another pond here before we moved in and it was filled in. So, you know, forgive the construction site look of this place. This deck is kind of messed everything up. But anyway, if you can picture, if you can see this green area, that's a dip. Well, that big rock formation is actually an old pump, like a waterfall. That was buried on its side here when we bought the place. And I was like, what is that? So whatever, I started digging it out, discovered it was a pump. This was, and then I found a liner below that. So at one point this was a pond too that they just filled in with dirt. So I can make a still water pond, and I'm going to make this one day and a bigger enclosure all around here, all around this area for spotted turtles and maybe Gulf Coast box turtles. So that'll be project number 2. Probably not this year, but I'll get there. So anyway, I'll do some more updates. Our bonsai are doing good. There's the Ficus megacarpa. I installed water over here as well, and a sprinkler system on a timer, so all this is now sprinkled all along here, all on the hanging baskets on the other side of the pool, and back around here. Got some bonsai here. A lot of these plants were up on the deck, but we had to take everything off because of the construction of the new deck. These are another main bonsai stand. There's a banyan, Ficus megacarpa, a trident maple that I just defoliated and is coming back with new growth, which is always exciting. June is the time to defoliate your trident maples here in the Northeast. Another Ficus megacarpa that I just defoliated, Ficus philippinensis, a little juniper there, another ficus. Doing good. This pot is full of succulents, which usually stays in the greenhouse in the wintertime, and I just put it up on this pole. That's doing good. Philenzia doradii. We got a bunch of elephant ears that I started here. These won't last the winter, but they look good in the summer. And these will get a lot bigger. Probably keep the juvenile Greek and Hermans that are in the hatchling enclosure here. They'll be 1.5 to 2 years old by the time winter comes. I'll probably keep them in the greenhouse this year. And basically the Greek tortoises will take up this area where the Greek tortoises were last year, and the Hermans tortoises that are in here, those juveniles that you can see in the back, will then go into that Hermans tortoise enclosure there for the winter until they get time and age to live outside in their enclosures year-round, like the other adults do. We got our redfoots over here. They have this whole area. Our marginateds are right here. They're doing well. A couple others in that little overturned pot. Hermans over here. That one's pretty muddy. Just woke up. Doing good. And then over here are our Greeks. There's one right there, very dirty. And there's a couple others hiding out in the back over there. And then over time here, we need to determine which of these redfoots we're keeping and which we are not keeping. That cherry head there, there's also another cherry head in the back. They're probably not going to be long-term residents here, so I might find them new homes. But then we have other redfoots in here. That redfoot you can see on top of that cherry head back there, this one, is het hypo. And there is another het hypo in here somewhere. I think it's that little guy hiding under that stick back there. So we'll hopefully one day be breeding hypos here as well. That one right there inside that pot that I have to fix is one that we produced here. The marginateds are doing awesome. There's one right back there, pacing the back. These guys are a little bit more standoffish and skittish than your typical testudo, you know, like your typical Greek tortoises or Herman's tortoises. So they're going to need a little bit of love, but I didn't talk about that. So anyway, we have space for these guys too, so let me go show you that real quick. I have one more outdoor tortoise enclosure to build, which won't happen this year because we don't have to, but it'll be for our marginated tortoises. And what I'm going to do is basically back here, from the corner to about here is about 10 feet, so they'll have a 10. I'm going to probably go about 15-20 feet that way. 10 by 20 or 10 by 15 foot enclosure, and that'll be for our marginated tortoises there. They don't need to be outside year round right now, and in fact they're probably too small to have open enclosures like this. Maybe next year I'll build that. Another cool thing about these large outdoor enclosures, now just a little hint to anybody that wants to build them. See how this one's climbing over the stick? Normally tortoises don't go around things, they try to just go through them or over them, because it's just the way they're made, I guess. But this is good because this gives them a little bit of exercise. It doesn't, none of these tortoises or none of these enclosures keep them on flat ground, which is good because it really helps promote good foot growth, good leg growth. You know, like I said, it offers a little bit of exercise, also makes the enclosures a little bit more interesting. So I love seeing them climb around things. You know, I purposely put sticks. That's actually our old Christmas tree. I purposely put sticks and logs, like this big long one right here, in the enclosure. It forces them to walk around, walk over things, and just gives them that little bit of exercise instead of being on flat ground all the time. Alright, so that's it for now, and hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.